Well, hey there. Welcome back to the Pack Your Passport podcast. My name is Brittany and I'm your host. I've been a travel agent myself since 2020. And since then, I've also helped over 80 agents sell more than $5 million worth of travel. I've also been able to quit my job as a teacher and do this travel thing full time. I've also gone on some really amazing trips myself. I've been on a cruise to Antarctica. I've been on countless FAM or familiarization trips, more about that later. And I've had all kinds of other opportunities. And I don't say this to brag either. My goal is really to help everyone in the world see more of the world. That's my whole vision and mission behind this brand. And I want other people to have these opportunities. I don't want for it to just be me. I want to share the love and the wealth with you. So if you're here, I'm guessing you're either a future travel agent, you're someone who's looking into becoming a travel agent, or you just got started and you're wanting to get inspired and excited. Either way, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. In this episode, I'm going to share a little bit more about my story as an agent. In the last episode and video, I talked about the vision and mission behind Travel Agent Haven, but I want to talk about my own story. And so you can see exactly what I did to grow my business to where it is now. I'm going to share the exact strategy. And if you're watching the video, you're going to see my screen. I'll actually show you some examples of what I'm talking about. If you're listening and you want to be able to see the video version, we should be on Spotify. But if you can't see the video where you are, go to the episode description, go to the YouTube link and go watch on there. By the way, if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube yet, go ahead and do that. We have so much content coming and already here, all about helping you earn more and travel better as a travel agent. So if you're watching here on YouTube, go ahead and click that little like, hit subscribe, and click the little bell so that you never miss notifications of when a new video is posted. And if you're not watching on YouTube, definitely come join us. If you're on our email list, you'll probably get a link to come onto our YouTube channel sometime soon. I also want to draw your attention to the freebie library. You'll find that link both in the episode description if you're listening on an audio app and in the YouTube video description. We have all kinds of free resources in there, and whenever we talk about a freebie here on the episode, you'll find it there. Okay, let's get on with the show. We're going to do a case study behind my own success as a travel professional. I'm going to talk about how much I've made, where that money is coming from, what my own niche is and how I arrived at that, how I got to that point, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how I did it. Are you ready? I'm going to share my screen, so let's get started. If you've watched or listened to the last few episodes and you've already heard me talk about how important it is to not compare yourself to others, and by that I mean not think that they're better than you or that you have to be doing exactly what they're doing, that you have to do things in the same way. Because we really all do have our own styles, our own personalities, our own skills, strengths, and preferences, so we can never quite compare exactly. However, we can borrow and learn from their strategies, the skills they're developing, and the processes and steps they've used to get there. One thing I often hear from people who are either thinking about becoming travel agents or people who have recently become travel agents is that they feel compelled to be everywhere online all the time. And would it be ideal to have every single platform creating really compelling content that makes them want to book with us right away and get on our email list and come on our tours and things? Yes, of course it would be. But that's not realistic, especially if you're still in the classroom. I work with many teachers, or if you just have a 9-to-5 job in general, or even if you don't have a 9-to-5 career, but you have caretaking responsibilities, you're a full-time parent, you're a homemaker, everybody's got a lot going on. So it's not realistic for most people to have a YouTube channel and a blog and a TikTok account, and an Instagram account, and a Facebook page, and a Facebook group. You can see how even just saying it can induce a lot of stress. So I want to say, let's take that pressure off now. You're going to find out what works for you, but basically you need 3 things. You need a way to get discovered. You need a way to nurture the people who have already found you, so to connect with them and to share value with them, to educate them. And you need a way to close the sale, so to speak. And we'll talk about that too. So this is what I do. I have guest podcasting and blog content that gets discovered when people search for certain things. And I'll talk about my niche in a second. Guest podcasting is when I go on other people's podcasts and talk about the things I have going on. And with that, I'm also including going live in other people's Facebook groups and talking about my own Facebook group, my own brand, and what I do with trips and things. For nurturing, I have my Facebook personal profile, which I've actually changed into a professional profile. More about that in a second. I have email marketing, and I have my own podcasts. This is an example of nurturing content. It's also discoverable because if you found this content on YouTube, that means that it's working its magic and that you're finding what you need. But it's also nurturing content because once you subscribe to this YouTube channel or you follow this podcast, you're going to hear from me each and every week. And of course, it's my hope that you become a travel agent and that you work with us and we get to support you. Or if you are a travel agent, that you come and get coaching from us, that you get help from us, that we can support you in that way. But even if you don't, I know that I'm making really valuable content that's going to help you solve problems and get you closer to where you want to be. And then finally, when it comes to actually making sales, most of my sales happen in messages. is. Usually as a travel agent, you will either make a sale in person. So maybe if you're at a networking event and they decide to book something directly with you right there and then. Sometimes it's done over the phone where you're actually talking things through and you're kind of booking things on their end. They give you their card, you put their card in, and then the sale is made, and then you earn that commission. Sometimes it's over a Zoom call. I actually have moved to doing more VIP day style now. So if we're not doing this over Messenger, which actually you can still do VIP day, I have to do a whole video about that, but basically it just means I set aside a few hours or a whole day to work on that specific client's things. And then I just make sure they're available via text or an app like text, like Telegram or Vox or a Facebook Messenger. You can really use whatever you want. And then I just make sure they're available so I can go back and forth with them that day if needed, instead of over several days or weeks, because things can really drag out. And the longer it takes, the less money you're technically making per booking. And of course, when you become a travel agent, or if you are a travel agent, I want you to make more money in less time. That's my goal for you. You could do VIP day style. You can book with people in person. You can do it over a Zoom call. You can do it over a phone call. Or if you just have a couple of hours a week, if you don't want to do VIP day style, you can just book in blocks of time throughout your week when you can work and just book and plan what you can. That is the overhead way back strategy, right? You need a way for people to find out about you. You need a way for people to come to know, like, and trust you, because we don't buy from people we don't know, like, or trust. And then you need a way to sell to them. And I know sales, it freaks people out, but as travel agents, we are in sales. And honestly, I'm just going to tell you, any business you're in, if you are a business owner, you're going to be in sales. So that's the same whether you decide, maybe I'll just do digital products. I get to be behind the screen and be an introvert. Well, you're still doing sales. You're still doing copywriting. You're still writing sales pages. That's going to happen no matter what. And I will also say that in the rise and age of AI and automation, it's going to become more and more important to actually be a person, a human who's willing to connect and serve. And it is uncomfortable, right? If we wanted to live in our pajamas and never put any clothes on again, there aren't that many jobs that are available to us where we can actually do a really good job. And even if you are able to make a lot of money quickly, it's probably not going to be sustainable, because someone else will come along who's going to have better customer service. They're going to care about their customers more. They're going to be willing to put themselves out there and create content like what we're doing now. And they're going to have better results in a shorter amount of time. So the quicker that you can get on board with doing some kind of content, it doesn't have to be video, but I prefer video, and I'll talk about why, the better. For the first 2 years that I was building communities and doing things online, I actually started with a Facebook group, and I made the blog second. And because I was a teacher at the time, it just made sense that I would talk to other teachers. And to be clear, I did this before I became a travel agent, right? I became a travel agent in 2020. I've been building communities online since 2018. So for the first 2 years, I wasn't making any money. Let's be clear on that, okay? I am hoping to save you time and help you make more money in a shorter amount of time so that you don't have to waste money and time like I did. Now, I don't really see it as a waste, honestly. I think those 2 years were super valuable, because even though I wasn't making money, I was figuring out, what did I want to focus on? Who was the person I was really talking to? What do they want and need? I was talking to my ideal client and customer every single day and doing these things that these big marketers tell you to do once you get into the business space without even realizing that's what I was doing. And I do really think that's why I was so successful so quickly once I finally did have something to sell. Now for you, it's probably going to be different. I'm guessing if you're watching this, you're thinking, I have no idea what to do on social media or marketing or content. Like, that's not really what I'm about. You might be thinking, I'm a teacher, I'm a nurse, I'm a blogger. I have some other specialties that has nothing to do with any of that stuff. That's okay. You can still use a lot of what you've used to learn a new skill. Like, the skill of learning is a skill, and you've learned other things before. You can apply that and learn these skills too. So for the first 2 years, I had that Facebook group, and I grew it using a few different techniques. One thing I did was I went live. So I'm going to show you now what that Facebook group looks like. I made a Facebook group specifically for teachers, and it did not have a super creative name. And honestly, I think that actually benefited me. It's the Traveling Teachers Community. It's had that name for at least 3 or 4 years. So it might have had a slightly different name when I first started it. I want to say it might have been like Tips and Trips for Teachers or something, but it's always been teachers in there because I knew I specifically wanted to create content and serve teachers. And actually, one of the reasons I became a travel agent is because I was talking in there one day with these people, and they were saying, wouldn't it be so cool if we travel together? And I was like, yeah, it would be cool. This was also when Game of Thrones was really popular and everybody was talking about Croatia. Croatia was this up and coming destination. I love it, by the way, still. We take teachers there every summer. So I said, yeah, that does sound amazing. Let's look into it. I looked through all these different options, right? I looked into becoming a tour operator. I looked into starting my own travel agency from scratch. I looked at opening a franchise. I thought maybe it'd be easier to just go with some branding that already exists. But when I looked into all those options, I didn't want the risk and the cost that came with starting my own agency. I didn't want to buy into a franchise because I had already built really strong brand recognition and relationships with my community of teachers. And I didn't want to feel like I was starting again by getting them to like some other brand that has nothing to do with me. And then God forbid something happened and I wasn't with that brand anymore, then I would have to start over. And I was really trying to avoid that. Then I didn't want to become a tour operator because I just felt like that was way too much risk and liability on me. Most of the tours I'm booking are as a travel agent. So I'll talk more about that too as the show goes on. This is a community, and for the first 2 years, I went live in here every single week. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Arizona time, people in the community knew to expect me live in there, and they would come in there. So I'm just gonna scroll through just so you can see what it looks like. I'm really lucky to say that it's not a huge group, right? Although I have lots of membership requests. I have over 99 member requests right now, over 700, excuse me. It was 500 the other day. So it's growing very rapidly. I can't even keep up right now. And that is honestly a result of longer time. And time is an element you have to consider. It takes time for people to know you're serious, for people to come to trust you, and also for you to become the expert. I really do believe that every travel agent I've helped is a true travel expert. They either focus on a specific destination or region of the world. They focus on a kind of travel, so luxury travel, budget travel, and or they focus on a certain activity. Maybe they are a certified scuba diver. Maybe they really love skiing and snowboarding and they're always finding the best places around the world. Maybe that's you. If you're a budget backpacker, you probably know where all the best hostels are and you've come up with some really creative ways to stretch your dollars. These are things that travelers need to hear about, or would-be travelers. Just think of how many people are out there who would be traveling the world, who would be seeing so much more and enjoying their life so much more, but they just don't know what you know yet. So I think we have a moral obligation and a duty to share these things with the world. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there, but when you have that in mind, it became much easier for me to create content because I thought, well, if I'm not going to share about these things, who will? And I don't know who else is going to care more than I will. I came to know these people personally. The people who came on to my live streams every single Thursday, I would know their first and last names. I knew whether or not they were married and who their significant others were. I knew what pets they had and their pets' names. I knew so much about them because I really did and still do consider these people my online friends. This led to an immense amount of trust and strong relationship in the sense that the people who travel with me now, one, I have a very high return rate. So it's very likely that if someone comes and travels with me and our brand once, they're going to come back. And I think that's a testament to really high quality service, people feeling valued and heard and treasured. And also, we don't just listen to people like as lip service, right? We actually change things and we work with our partners and we ask for them to make modifications based on what our travelers want. Now for my niche, you know that I'm talking about teachers, right? And I'm gonna scroll through here just so you can see the kind of content I'm sharing to get a sense. I do share deals sometimes, but I don't want for this to look like a billboard, so I do balance it out. I also share deals and I share information. I am so quick when something comes out or something changes in the travel industry because I am a true professional. I consider myself that. I'm sharing information with them that they're not finding anywhere else. I am making my Facebook group a valuable place to be. It is a destination in its own right. And one of the ways that my group has grown so quickly is by people inviting their teacher friends to come join the group. In fact, every month I do a monthly group growth campaign where I encourage teachers to come and invite their friends. And this usually looks like a small giveaway. It could be a $25 gift card, a $50 gift card, or sometimes I even partner with brands and am able to get them free stuff. Now, I'm going a little bit ahead of myself because again, this is a few years in the making, right? When you're starting off in the beginning, you're not going to have that yet. You're going to be starting from zero. And I know that can be kind of a vulnerable and scary place to be, but it really doesn't have to be scary. We all start from zero. And while we might feel a little embarrassed because our egos are bruised, I promise you, actually being a beginner with a small audience is a blessing in itself because people want to come behind you. They want to support you. They want to be part of a community that's growing. So let's see other content I share. I also share that people ask me questions, I want for them to know that other people look to me as an authority because it helps me become an authority in their eyes. That's a strategic thing, but also just let them know that I appreciate them. And we answer questions. We talk about things that I know they'll care about. I share offers they're interested in. Oh, and then this is a really good post for you to see. So I know that the people in my community, the teachers, they're very interested in science and natural phenomena. They want to go to places that are either off the beaten path or places that they've been wanting to go to, but they just couldn't afford otherwise. So I do a lot of work and time and research, and I do a lot of networking to find the best partners that are going to meet my teachers' needs. So I do serve budget travelers, but I would say budget plus because many of them don't want to stay in hostels. They want to have accommodation they consider nice, decent, and they want to have basic food. They want to have some creature comforts, but they're willing to sacrifice a little bit of comfort and save a little bit of money so they can have these epic experiences. I know that's something that's really important to my people. There's going to be an eclipse in 2027. If you're watching this after the fact, then it already happened, and it's going to be in the Valley of the Kings in Egypt. And I just thought, how cool. My community will love this. This is how I launch my group trips, by the way. I just thought, you know what? I should make sure that people are actually interested in this first. So what I'm showing you right now is exactly how I launch a new group trip. I was saying earlier about how the first group trip came and how Game of Thrones was popular at the time, and that made Croatia very popular. And so I said, okay, I'm going to figure this out. I'll become a travel agent. And so I did. I found a partner I really liked and said, okay, let's do this. And it sold out pretty quickly. We did a sailing trip through Croatia. And I was like, wow, there's interest here. So then I said, okay, well, one sold out, let's do another. That one sold out. And so I said, oh, wow, okay, let's do another. My first summer of trying this, I had 40 people come and travel with us. And I made like $8,000. Which is amazing. That's not the first group I tried to run. Let me just be clear on that. Before I became a travel agent, which thank God this one did not run because I had not booked anything properly as a travel agent. In 2019, I was going to take a group of teachers through Finland and we were going to tour some schools. We were going to learn about the education system there and compare it to the American education system. It was booked for March of 2020. So I guess you can figure out what happened there. I had 48 hours to call all these different partners and cancel everything. It was wild, especially because the school administrators in Finland didn't even know a pandemic was happening when I called. This was 3 or 4 days after it was declared here in the States. It was a wild time. I've learned from these experiences is, one, before I spend a whole bunch of time and money and energy going and booking things and trying to find partners and doing research, I pre-launch my trips. And that is my niche. My niche is group trips. Now, when you become a travel agent, you don't have to travel with your community or your audience or your clients if you don't want to. You totally don't have to. But that's something that I want to do. And I do a mix. I also have booked a fair amount of destination weddings, of honeymoons. I've booked solo travelers. I've booked the random 1, 2, 3 hotel night stays. I'm working on an Alaska cruise booking right now. I'm willing to book just about anything, but my audience is pretty much always current or former teachers because that is the community I have. The bulk of my income comes from group trips. That first summer in Croatia, when I made, I want to say like $8,000 profit after a few weeks of work, I was sold. And it was a good thing too, because I had just made the decision to leave the classroom. I was taking a really big risk. I wasn't sure if it was going to work out. My income had been matching my teacher salary for a few months, but I still knew it was a risk because I knew it could go back down. So I'm really thankful and happy everything worked out. But that just showed me, okay, there's a demand here. As I speak right now and record this, I actually have over 25 group trips that are planned between 2024 and 2025. Just do the math there. If I made about $8,000 to $10,000 from 4 weeks, imagine what I can do multiplied. And the cool thing is, as time goes on, you actually learn better ways to save money, to save costs. Last year, I did 3 weeks in Greece, and I actually made more money than 4 weeks in Croatia because I learned a few things and saved some money there. This is the exact same thing that you'll do as a travel agent. You learn things, you talk to other people, you figure out processes and systems that make things better, cheaper, faster, easier, and it goes from there. But I think this post is still good to go over with you because even if you're not going to do a group trip, pre-launching your own travel is really great. So I said eclipse trip in Egypt, eyes emoji. Comment me if you want the details. This part's very important. This is what we called a CTA or call to action in the social media and marketing world. And it's probably the most important part of every single social media post, especially if you're trying to get more leads. And leads are just people who are interested in possibly becoming clients. So if I want people to book with me, I need to let them know that I'm an agent and I need to be constantly asking them, hey, does this sound interesting? Do you want to do this? Really, at the end of the day, say that's what marketing and sales is. Like, hey, this sounds cool. Do you want to do this? So I want you to see what happened. When I go down to the comments, I have many people, this would be cool. Spain in 2026. I actually have another trip planning in 2026. I haven't released that one yet. Been here for 4 years. I love all the amazing trips. Can you give me details? So she's interested in coming. Me. So I actually have to follow up for some of these people. Some of them I have. I've messaged them already. And that's my next process. Once I pre-launch a trip, if nobody were to comment, if nobody were to be interested, guess what? I wouldn't book it. I wouldn't put the time, money, and energy into it because why would I? People aren't interested. It might just be that single post didn't get enough traction and maybe I would try a different image or I would try different text in a post. So honestly, so much of marketing, what we do is just testing and trying things out. I might do that, but I had enough people say they were interested to say, okay, if I put this together, I think I can fill up a trip. Now, one thing you'll learn is that not everybody who's interested is necessarily going to become a client and book with me. What I did right here is called lead generation. All these people who are saying me, they have indicated, hey, I'm interested, I'm raising my hand, I'd like to hear more about this trip, message me. They're not committing to buying anything yet. They're just saying, hey, I'm interested, tell me more. If I tell them the information and they say, that sounds amazing, sign me up, and they book, now they're a client, right? And now my shift goes from trying to encourage them to book with me or to make a purchase to how can I make sure you're having the best possible experience. That said, I do think we should also try to make the actual buying experience really positive. And I think it also helps us to not be spammy or scammy or sound like a sleazy salesperson. I think the good user experience starts right at the beginning, getting back to people quickly, which I could have done a better job with this post, honestly. So getting back to people quickly, having great information, over delivering. Now, over delivering doesn't mean overwhelming them with information. That's another thing I've learned. Is more isn't always more. Sometimes less is more. But do you have resources? Do you have a place where they can go learn more? So for example, if you don't want to send huge blocks of text and spend hours doing that, maybe that would be a good blog post to have and you could send them that. That's why I'm a really big fan of having content too. So again, when we're talking about marketing and getting clients, you need a way to get discovered. You need a way to nurture or educate your people. And you'll see that in my group with the Google Flights example. I was telling them about something coming, something is changing, and then you need a way to sell. Now, certain platforms allow you to do multiple. Facebook groups, when they first started back in 2018 or so, or I don't know if they started then, but they became popular then, were actually really great for getting discovered too. I had many people come into my Facebook group because Facebook recommended it to them, or they'd be in another group for teachers and this one would be recommended. So you could be discovered here, but mostly this is for nurturing and also sales. And my next step with this would be to go and follow up with every single person who commented. Then I would send them a message saying, hey, so nice to meet you. I might also do a voice note actually and say, hey, here are the details. Here are the links you need to look at. Let me know if you have any questions. And then I go onto a Trello board, which I don't have up right now, but you could use paper and pen for this, or you could even use the notes app on your phone. I make a note of, okay, I sent Heather a message on June 13th. I'm going to make a note and then a Google Calendar reminder a week from now on June 20th to follow up with Heather if I haven't heard from her. This is basically generation in sales. And while every single agent does it a little bit differently, I have found that keeping it simple has been great for me. So that's what I'm going to do for this post to get my Egypt trip filled. I also do a mix of engaging, fun content too, right? So if you could change anything when it comes to travel, what would it be? I had over 38 comments. People gave some really great ideas, mostly about the flight booking process and how flights are expensive. I do like to share last minute deals when I can find them, but I share other opportunities too. So even when I'm not selling my own trips or my own services, I don't just say, hey, come book with me, I'm a travel agent all the time. Nobody wants to see that. I like to share lots of things that even if they never work with me, they feel like the group is a valuable place to be. So when I find really cool opportunities for teachers to travel on a budget for free, because I also talk about grants, scholarships, fellowships, fun seasonal jobs that teachers might be interested in, I share all that in there as well. And also they share with each other. People will ask questions and then other people will come in and answer, and that adds to the value of the group. So I am a huge fan of having a Facebook group filled with your ideal clients and customers, and then creating really valuable, engaging content that helps them, that solves their problems, that answers their questions, and of course positions you as an expert so you become the no-brainer person to book with and buy from. Another big part of my strategy for getting people into my Facebook groups is Reels. Reels are those short-form videos that you see on Facebook, on Instagram, technically TikTok, YouTube. TikTok has TikToks, YouTube has Shorts, but short-form video. So Facebook has that as well. And when you go to my profile, you'll see that I have Reels. And so I have all of my videos there. I actually have this connected to my Instagram account, Brittany Goes Abroad, everything on Instagram, Reels or Stories, and I have it connected to my Facebook personal profile so that anything that posts on Instagram also post on Facebook. Content-wise, I find Instagram a better platform for creating videos and also creating stories. There are more stickers, there are more fun, engaging things. And if you want to see an example of this, you can follow my account, Brittany Goes Abroad. And of course, you're also welcome to add me as a friend on Facebook or follow me there. So I post the reels and the stories there. It automatically comes to Facebook, but this is where Facebook is so much better. Let me actually go down to an example of where I did this. This is a really good example because it actually shows you one of the trips we did and what I saw there. So I'm just going to play it. So it's just a simple pan from one side to the other. Look at that beautiful bay. Now, I actually didn't do it on this caption, but what you can do on Facebook that you can't do on Instagram or other platforms is you can leave a clickable link. Let me actually show you how to do that since I haven't done it on this one yet. I have the Traveling Teachers community. I'm going to take this group and I'm going to say, want to travel to places like this with other educators. Come join us in our free Facebook group. And I put the @Traveling Teachers Community. That is another reason when I am making Facebook groups and also advising other travel agents and making Facebook groups, I always encourage them to name the group something that makes sense for their audience. Traveling Teachers Community, it's very simple. You know who it's for, you know what it's about, even the emojis in the title. Green apple, it's for teachers. Plain, it's for travel. World, it's for travel. Blue heart, that is the vibe. It's friendly, it's supportive, it's a fun place to be. It's clickable. Okay. Another thing I could do is I could go to my group and I could just copy the URL, or you can click here to join. And what I do like about this option instead, so this first option, it's very native, right? Native, it means in the text, like it just comes up naturally. So if I hover over it, I can see that little card of the group pop up, and it might be blocked by my face there. So let me actually move my face and then you can see. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. So when I go and hover over the title, you can see this little preview pop up, and it's good for social proof. Now, I don't personally care how many people I have in my Facebook group, and I don't think you should either. It is so much better to have 200, 300, 400 really committed people who know, like, and trust you than 90,000 people who have no idea who you are. The numbers don't matter nearly as much as you think they do. Is it helpful to have a big audience or community? Sure. But it's more important to have an engaged and committed community who really knows you. The fact that they can see how many of their friends are in the group and the fact that they can see how many people are in the group is super helpful. So here we can see there are 532 friends of mine, it's my group, right? And that there are almost 5,000 members. That shows whoever is coming across this reel that, oh, this is already an established existing community. I can just go and tap into what they've got going on. And that makes it more appealing for a place to join. Now, that is if they hover over this, but sometimes people don't know how to use social media. So sometimes it's helpful to actually put the whole link there with the HTTPS. I'm going to show you what it looks like now when I click enter and comment on there. See, now it says, or you can click here, and there's still a thing if you hover, but now the card is right there in the comment. So usually I like to do that, and then this kind of like pins to the top. I guess it depends on what you have for the filter, but I have found that when I'm looking at creators reels that I really love, their Facebook group goes to the top. That's the reason they do that. It's because they want people who find them on Facebook to come over and join their Facebook group. Now, if they see your reel on Instagram, obviously it's not the same. They can't do this because you can't leave a clickable link there. But what I have started doing recently is using an app like ManyChat. And I'll have a call to action. Remember, I talked about the call to action in the Facebook group post. By the way, if you're not a travel agent yet, I'm not trying to overwhelm you. I'm just showing you exactly what I did to grow that initial community, to show you that you can do this. And I will teach you. We will be here to help you and guide you every step of the way. We have so many templates and examples and scripts too to save you loads of time. On Instagram, you can actually put your links right here. So I have one right here to come join the Traveling Teachers group. So if they click on that, they go to the Facebook group. Even someone who comes across my Instagram profile can come join my Facebook group. I also have a link to my personal profile. And something I might not have showed you before is I have optimized my profile on Facebook. I don't know why it's not working. Maybe it's because I'm already logged in as myself. If they go to my profile, they're going to see there's my group link again, right? Join 4,000 plus teachers who love to travel, arrow here. So I have given them so many opportunities to come and join my Facebook group because that is where I want for them to go. Discoverability, they might find me on an Instagram reel or a Facebook reel, or they might hear me on a podcast. They might come across a video of mine. They might hear me speak at a conference. They go to my Facebook group. I also get their email address when they come in. More about that another time. And now I can talk to them there. I can teach them there, and I can sell stuff to them. But I also like to add them as a friend when they join my group. I've started doing that somewhat recently. So they're also going to see all these posts posts I have on my personal profile. And you'll see many of the posts I have in the Facebook group that I showed you are also on my personal profile. Not all of them, they're not all the same. I have some that are only on my profile. I have some that are only in the Facebook group, but there's a lot of crossover. I use Facebook as a marketing tool, right? I use it as a marketing and sales tool. All of my really close friends, they have access to my cell phone. They talk to me in messaging apps. So I have decided to use my social media for business. Now you don't have to, and you don't specifically have to use Facebook. This is how I have built a business that can support me full time so that I don't have to work a full-time job, so that I have location independence, so I can travel whenever I want throughout the year and work from wherever I want. So I can go to friends' birthdays and weddings and new babies and baptisms and all that and not have to ask someone for a day off, or that I can even go get my own medical care. That was a huge deal. When I was a teacher, we were so short on subs that you felt really guilty and shame from even other teachers if you took a day off. And I am so glad that I don't have to do that anymore. And that if when we have kids, we can just take care of them. We don't have to ask anyone for permission to go anywhere or do anything because we are in charge and in control of our own time. There are other things I do too, right? When I speak at a conference or when I go to an event for teachers and I do some networking and things. But at the bare bones beginning, I had a Facebook group. I went live in there. I optimized my Facebook personal profile for people to come join my group. And in fact, I didn't even have anything else. Then I started writing blog posts and sharing the blog posts in the group. And also people were finding me on the blog and ending up in the group. But you just go as you learn and you grow over time. You're going to start with something really simple and really basic, and then you're going to go and grow from there. Thank you so much for sticking around that long. That was a really long video, but I'm so glad that if you made it to this point, you found this valuable and helpful. If you have any questions about what you saw, maybe you are a new travel agent and you're trying to figure out, how do I use Facebook in my marketing? Or you're a future travel agent and you're trying to figure out, do I really have to do all this to be able to make money in travel? I just want to help people travel, which if that's what you want to do, that's all you need. We'll help you figure out the rest. Or maybe you're interested and ready in becoming a travel agent. If that's you, definitely turn your attention to the resources in the episode description. You can definitely access our freebie library, and we even have a training that walks you through what it's like to be a travel agent. What is the actual booking process look like? How do we earn commissions for booking that travel? And then also, how do we book our own trips as travel agents? How do we get to go on those fam trips? How do we get to access those discounts? How do we find some of the opportunities I mentioned earlier? All of that is in the episode description. So if you're here on YouTube, you can just scroll down below the video after this video stops playing and grab that. And if you're listening on the audio version of this podcast, all of that is in the episode description within your listening app. I would love to answer any other questions you have. So again, on YouTube, just drop them down below in the comments. You can also send me a DM on Instagram over at Travel Agent Haven. I'll have that QR code here on the screen for you so you can take your phone, go to take a picture and tap on that link. It takes you right to Instagram. Or you can send me an email at the address on my screen if you don't do any social media. And if you don't want to comment publicly on YouTube, I totally get it. Thanks again so much for tuning in with me today. I hope that you love this episode. I hope that you subscribe. If you haven't, hit subscribe, click that little bell so you never miss notification of a new video, and go ahead and give this video a like. We appreciate it. If you're listening, go ahead and follow along in your favorite podcast player. Talk soon.